Not exactly sure I want to admit this, but I am a I guess recovering is not the right word, but I am a former Hulkamaniac. This is Confessions of a Hulkamaniac, and it all started back in 1984, of course. Hulkamania was running wild. He defeated the Iron Sheik for the World Wrestling Federation Championship in Madison Square Garden in January of that year. And, as a 11-year-old kid who was just getting into wrestling, Hulk Hogan, was the man, so to speak, especially if you were into Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation style of wrestling. He embodied all the things that a kid looked up to in a hero. He said his prayers, he took his vitamins, and he worked out. He was a big man. He had a big presence on screen and inspired a lot of people, I think. And then, of course, as the years went on into the 80s, we got the cartoons, we got the Hulkamania t-shirts and whatnot, and even the Hulkamania Hulk Hogan LJN action figure. And this was actually the first LJN figure I got in that collection of figures. So I still have this 25 plus years later. I remember finding him. We were on vacation in Florida, and it was quite the find. Through the years, I have dressed up like Hulk Hogan for various things. The first time being back in 2007, I dressed up as the Hulkamania Hulk Hogan. My friends and I went to a Monday Night Raw event in St. Louis, and we were the three faces of Hogan. So one friend was Mr. America, the other friend was Hollywood Hogan, and of course I was the red and yellow traditional Hulkamania Hulk Hogan. That was a lot of fun. I'd actually bought that shirt back in 1988 at WrestleMania 4. I wasn't at the event, but my dad and we lived in St. Louis and went to downtown to the Kiel Center, the Kiel Auditorium, and watched WrestleMania 4 on the closed circuit television. And I was, I think, about 14 years old at that time, and bought that t-shirt, 15 years old actually. And another sad note of that Hulkamania era that I experienced that I probably shouldn't be admitting to, but it was back that same year. It was right before WrestleMania when Hogan wrestled Andre for the title on the main event. It was the Friday night special that aired on NBC. It was billed as the ultimate rematch between the two, and Hogan lost the title, of course, nefariously because of the paid-off referee, Dave and Earl Hebner, and the Evil Twins. And I actually just watched this match the other day on the Best of Saturday Night Main Event DVD, so it's still fresh in my mind. But Hogan lost the title, and I remember it was a Friday night. I was at home. I was a dork. I still am a dork, but I was even dorkier back then. And that loss actually brought me to tears. As a Hulkamaniac, I cried my eyes out. Now, I had a different relationship with my Hulkamania and my love for Hulkamania because it wasn't too long before that I had actually kind of given up on Hulk Hogan. When he was feuding with Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, I kind of went along with Orndorff on that one, and I supported him, and I thought that I really thought back then that Orndorff had a shot at winning the World Wrestling Federation Championship, specifically on that Saturday night's main event from January of 1987 when they both competed in the steel cage, and they both came down either side of the cage and touched the ground essentially at the same time. I was bummed that Hogan was declared the winner of that match after they restarted it. But then I came back to embracing Hogan, and of course there was the feud with Andre the Giant, and I stuck behind Hogan for that, and even into the early 90s with the Ultimate Warrior and Sergeant Slaughter and even Macho Man Randy Savage. I was a devout Hulkamaniac. And I would think it was probably about the time that Ric Flair showed up in the WWF that I definitely changed my allegiance. Flair, is my all-time favorite and would trump Hulk Hogan any day of the week, in my opinion. So, when he came into the WWE, or the WWF, I changed allegiance and supported supported Flair, and was excited when Flair won the world title in the Royal Rumble back in '92, and was hoping that we would get that money match, Hogan versus Flair at WrestleMania. Of course, that never came to fruition. Hogan left, came back, and I think what really finally the nail in the coffin, so to speak, for Hogan and me being a Hulkamaniac or even liking Hulk Hogan was in '93 at WrestleMania 9 when he came back and teamed with Brutus Beefcake, and they lost by disqualification to Money Incorporated for the tag team titles. I was fine with that. They could be in the tag team title match, whatever. But it was then afterwards, after the main event between Bret Hart and Yokozuna, Hogan comes down, challenges Yokozuna, wins the title, and of course has another title reign, and lost the title not too long after that, and then of course left WWF and ended up in WCW. And for me, that kind of, and I don't know if maybe reading too many reports online kind of attributes to this too, or contributes to this or not, but it just seemed like Hogan was in it for Hogan. And, I know the man has sacrificed a lot. His body is broken down now with his back and all the surgeries he's had. And I do appreciate the effort that these guys do put on in the ring because, a lot of them give their blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of them die, quite honestly, too young. And I don't take that lightly, and I'm not here to diss Hulk Hogan. I'm just kind of having a little fun with my confessions as a Hulkamaniac and kind of explaining now why I'm not such a Hulkamaniac anymore. I'm not a Hulkamaniac at all. Although I do enjoy seeing the occasional appearances by him, like when he came back in 2005 and was inducted into the Hall of Fame. I thought that was appropriate. I liked what they did with him and having him kind of show up at WrestleMania 21 that was, and kind of back Eugene up as he was getting attacked by Muhammad Hassan and Daivari. So Hogan still has a place. It's not in the main event, and it's not storylines revolving around him, which I think is kind of happening in TNA. Admittedly, I don't watch a lot of TNA, so I can't say that definitively. But when he first came in and the whole Abyss thing with the Hall of Fame ring, I just thought that was tacky. I didn't like that at all, and I thought it was kind of disrespectful to Vince McMahon and the WWE giving that ring up. So that's the long and short of it. Do I hate Hulk Hogan? No, I don't hate anybody in the business. I wish him the best as he recovers from his latest ailments with his back. I do, again, appreciate the sacrifices that he and all the other wrestlers out there go through, and I do believe that he has a place in wrestling history that has been established. And thanks for watching. That's my 1, 2, 3 cents.